So I brought this today for Dennis as a gift, but he's taken so long to see me. This is where I'm at right now. So I don't know where you're at, Dennis, but I'm running out of bottle for you, Bubba.
So yeah, you brought some rum with you.
That's right, a gift.
Papa's Pilar. We got Ricky Williams over here. We're gonna put him back here. Let's see. Ricky can come up and hang out with us today.
Good old Ricky.
Good old Ricky.
Run, Ricky, run.
Yep. Do you remember? A lot of people forget because like so much of his career was overshadowed by being with the weed stuff, and dude was an animal.
Yeah.
Like he was like he could have been the greatest running back of all time, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Ricky Williams was an incredible football player.
What do you have the most carries?
Yeah, and that's
1
why he
year.
retired. Dave Wannstedt
They
ran
beat
him into the ground.
Exactly.
my
They
God.
beat the crap out of the guy.
That guy. Run, Ricky, run, then punt.
Right.
And everyone knew, we're running because Jay Fiedler is my quarterback, and I'm obviously not passing.
Ran him so hard he turned
Yeah.
into a bot.
I think that team, a lot of people don't realize it. They're like, oh, yeah, Jay Fiedler was like a good quarterback and everything. It's like, no, he wasn't. Like, the defense was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Surtain and Madison and Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas, Tim Bowens up the middle.
Yep.
Dude, that defense was phenomenal. That's why we won games. I mean, it wasn't because of Fiedler. He's throwing
Right.
pick sixes every game. The defense was outscoring the offense.
I remember Sperano. We get a field goal
Yeah,
and he's over there jumping, swinging his fist in the air.
Tell you
It's like, why do you need a touchdown when we can settle for a field goal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Dave Wannstedt ruined this franchise, man. Or at least that was the beginning of it.
Yep.
I don't know. You want to crack that open?
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah. 2 days
Do
in
it.
a row.
Knock it out.
Let's see here. All right.
See if you've gotten any better at opening up these bottles.
Yeah, no, I probably have not because the last time I drank this was on that podcast.
Yeah.
So, here we go. I think I figured it out. All right. So, no regrets, right?
That's right.
So, welcome to Connected by Water, Ricky.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
The Connected by Water presented by Joey Cardi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Subaru. See, now we know by that is it's the New Year's past us, like we're back in the flow. Then I'm not fumbling over the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Subaru
The intro.
thing, which is like when I first got back from the New Year, I was like, I was like fumbling like over the whole thing. Who knows after this bottle of rum?
Like you had a bottle of that.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows now
Might
after
be
the bottle
back
of
to
rum?
it.
You're right back to it. So there you go.
All right.
So you are drinking out of the no regrets, not even one letter mug. So
Thank you.
yeah, no, thank you. Thank me, thank you. You're the one who bought the rum.
That's right. Happy New Year, too, man.
Happy New Year.
Happy
So-
New Year, John.
A couple of
New
fishing
Year.
friends hanging out, drinking some rum. That's it. We got some iced tea here. if you
Cheers,
wanna-
bud.
Cheers. So, keep it right there. How you doing, man?
All right, good.
Yeah?
Busy.
Yeah,
Yep, doing charters and
busy's good.
family man and
Mm-hmm.
raising 3 kids.
Yeah, that's a job in itself.
Yeah, big time.
That's some smooth stuff right there.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's like, vacation.
So you're up in Jupiter now.
Yeah.
How do you like
Jupiter Farms. I love it.
it? Yeah.
Yep.
Where were you living before?
I was in about the Hollywood area.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you guys took a leap,
yep.
and when you moved out to Jupiter, that's when you went on your own, or were you like 100% as a charter?
I started the
When
charter
did you start that? Yeah.
out of Pompano 2 years before I went up there.
Okay.
So we got, really dialed into Pompano's fishery, you know, and started my whole fishing career basically out of Fort Lauderdale. So I would troll sometimes, go out of Haulover, fish Key Biscayne, fish Fort Lauderdale, go north, and then went up to Pompano and started catching better fish and closer to the Gulf Stream, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then just basically it was like, if I'm fishing, it has to be out of Pompano. So
Right.
opened the business out of Pompano, and then wanted to basically get out of Broward County, you know, and
Why'd you want to leave Broward? I'm curious. I'm not like I always ask everybody that who ever leaves.
what I think traffic is
Traffic,
huge.
that's a big thing, yeah.
And I was before the chartering, I did fire sprinklers for 23 years, so I drive a service truck all over the place.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what got me my house, got me able
Yeah.
to wean myself out of fire sprinklers and into chartering full time. So I would drive through different areas, and I'm like, wow, it's really clean up here, and really nice, and they keep everything up to date, if you would, all the neighborhood and pressure cleaning and stuff like that. Anyway, less traffic too. Like once you hit PGA, it thins
Jupiter
out.
Farms is nice too. Like out in that area, it's real, like, a lot of land and a lot of different, reminds me of like a lot of like how Davie is, some parts of Davie still.
Yep. Like Southwest ranches.
Yeah. Right.
And then, like growing up in Hollywood, every single house is right on top of each other. So you can touch your neighbor basically. So to go up there and get, an acre and a half and can't even throw a rock and hit the neighbor's house or see him at nighttime, there's no street lights, it's like a huge change. So I'm embracing it. I love it.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. And then get the kids into a better public schools. That's another thing.
Yeah. We're homeschooling now.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand the educational system in Broward County.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and we're in Coral Springs too, which has a reputation of having a better educational system than most cities. But I mean, to me, it's all county.
How's the homeschooling going?
It's fine. Yeah, it's great. Actually, it's the kids are a lot happier. We're all a lot happier, and I think a lot of times, with these kids, man, I think they're mistaking. First of all, when you homeschool, like, people shouldn't think that you're just recreating school at home. It's not how the curriculum works. It's a different way to educate your children altogether. It works for us. There's homeschool networking groups that we're involved with as well. So a lot of people, one of their first things that they go, what about the socialization of it? And it's like, well, we're socializing. That's not an issue. But, everything's going great. We feel like they're learning actually at a faster rate.
Nice.
If you think about it, how much personal attention during the course of a day does your kid actually get when the teacher has like 28 kids or 22 kids even in one classroom?
Right.
Probably not that much individual attention, but
now they get 100%.
Yeah, now they get 100%, and you don't really have to stress them out with a ton of homework, and which that's another thing too. I think the kids are getting way too much homework. That young brain, I think, needs time to, when you're trying to expand it during the day, it needs time to bounce back. So
I agree.
That's another thing too, especially with the amount of work they were giving kids at kindergarten level.
Yep.
And I think they're dealing with the problem a little bit in the wrong way.
My son, he's in kindergarten and just finished the winter break.
Right.
So now they just started him with the homework in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So it's just basically read to him,
Right.
So it has to be done, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of this, it's all on my wife. She's the one that does it. I mean, I pitch in when I can on the weekends, and pretty much a history buff. So I can teach them a lot of stuff about that.
That's
and,
cool.
we quiz them all the time, and, we're getting into, but she's got a curriculum that she follows, with her, especially with her group stuff that she does. So, but that's the thing, man. It's like, you quit your day job.
Yep.
When?
About March last year. Full-time charter captain.
So that was your first year full-time.
Yeah. So scary.
And right?
I left 401k, all the health insurance, and the kids are under my girl's health insurance, so I wasn't like screwing us up with that, or screwing her up, if you would. So just pretty much me, but it definitely was scary, nervous, and just... You don't know something like that until you do it, basically.
Yeah, it's tough. I remember when we did it here, we had it to where we had already had our daughter, and then we had planned on just having one more child, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. We just wanted to have two. We were hoping for the boy, just to have the boy and the girl. And we had my son. Yep. And, as we kind of went through on the previous podcast, he was born 2 months premature. But we still stuck to the plan. Like, once we got him home, he was born in September, and then right at the new year, we had a situation at, the company I was working at in the music business, to where, I was able to like arrange my own layoff, thank God, which was great, really worked out. And I took that leap, but it's so scary, I had, I was busy outside of work. I was always continuously busy. Like my whole life's been like that. It's continuously busy.
Right.
But it's still like, it's a definitive line that you cut for yourself and that you're like, all right, it's like you step off a cliff and you're like,
Big time.
But it's crazy because you step off a cliff, but there's a little rock there that you land on. You're like, all right, it's a little lower than I was before. And eventually you start climbing rocks that get you higher. So that's got to be like pretty fulfilling for you to like, go through your first year, and you had a pretty good year. Yeah.
206 charters completed.
Fantastic.
And I've heard of guys doing 360 and stuff. So I don't know, I'm proud of myself and my business for that. So I don't know, someone else, like I said, they like, hey dude, catch up. We're doing 400. I don't know.
Right. Right.
So I try to talk to captains and get
200. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot
of time on the water.
And if anyone says they do more than that,
well, yeah,
it's tough. You know what I mean? Because your physical aspect alone, to doing that, because you're out on the water all day. Still, I don't care if you're doing it for a living or not. It's got to take a toll on you.
Yeah,
that
definitely
many days.
Beat you up. And tired, and then you got to add in bait fishing for these tournaments, doing the tournament. So it's probably a lot more than 200 days out there as well.
How many tournaments you fish in a year, you think?
I don't know. I do different stuff on what I'm feeling, or I want to say, what do we do, about maybe 10?
Yeah.
8 to 10.
That's still a lot,
right?
Considering that you're full-time on the charter.
Yeah, and then I know you got some guys doing the sailfish tournaments and the meat fish, And that's one thing with me is I'm held back because I only have the 25 contender, which is 28 length overall. And that's not a sailfish platform, if you would. You know what I mean? So,
well, it's a sailfish tournament platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, or nowadays these boats are getting outrageous too. So it's, is it even a meat fish platform anymore?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Some of the boats that they're coming out with are just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like what they're doing with them now.
Yeah. It feels good when we beat some of them, though,
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, if you know what you're doing and you have a good day and you're paying attention, I mean, you can compete against those guys, no problem. And you have been.
Yep, exactly.
So what was that? How big was that? Was that a wahoo?
Yeah.
Huge wahoo you got recently, right?
Yeah, it was on a charter, and it got sharked twice in its spine and towards the back. So we waited at sailfish
twice,
and it still was 90 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so it had 2 chunks. So we waited at Sailfish Marina, and we're surrounded by some captains and mates, and my buddy James Fenn, who's done a ton of wahoo fishing, he shows up and to check this thing out, and because I'm calling people and I'm like, man, this thing's got to be 100 pounds, and it's, I mean, it was like this and 13 inches off of the deck, and I'm like, God, So a lot of captains and mates, they said, this thing probably is over 100. So some said 105, 110 or something like that. And we did it on a 20-pound spinning outfit.
Wow.
I know.
Nice.
So we were going to go reset, and my mate Max is reeling it in, skipping the gog on the surface, just, trying to get out of that spot, kind of a little bit boring, go reset, Right. And bam, just piped it. And it was like, dude, this thing's dumping this reel. Let's go, So we start driving on them. And then, we catch a lot of sharks up there, so those, for the customers, I like to stay hooked up on them and give the customer some action, whether you're having a slow or great day. Some people from out of town flip out over the shark. So anyway, I look at Max, and Max is driving, and I'm up there with the customer guiding him through it and coaching him. And then I'm like, dude, this is way too fast for a shark. So so it's funny, Max goes, it's either a 100-pound wahoo, big yellow fin, or something exotic, or a marlin that maybe didn't jump yet, baby blue or something like that. So all of a sudden he ends up on the surface, and we see the shark. So a key thing that Max did, he guns it right on there, and I just went for a Hail Mary gaff shot and got him away from the shark. And I'm like, I need help. I'm screaming for help, and the shark comes up and takes one more bite, and that was the second bite. And that was it. So scientifically, we started thinking, if that shark didn't take out maybe one bite, would we have even got it? Would we have pulled a knot, broke it off?
Right.
In other words, if how long this thing was going to take, if it was going to just do what it wanted to do.
Yeah. Yep.
It was at first it was like there was no
shark
turning
slowed him
its
down
head.
for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So still a lot of meat.
That's crazy that
Yeah.
when you hear like stories like that.
Yeah.
Like there's always like circumstantial things that happen like during the course of like an angling experience that just, you know, always sometimes like you can make things go one way or the other, you know. And I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, it was a sick day, to say the least.
The so you're on how many 200 and what charters?
I completed the year at 206.
206.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, do you
Thank you.
I mean, do you find that working that like now that you're just doing that full time, like how does that affect like your home life?
One of my biggest goals to do this was to because of weather and stuff, you're going to get days off that you can't predict anyway, no matter how busy you are.
Right.
So I figured if I did this, I can make double the money in less time, you know, working for, you know, a full-time job, if you would. You're already at 50 hours. If you have a 40-hour work week, you need an hour or two to get there with like we talked about traffic. And then, so I was like, man, that's 50 hours. So big motivational, big goal for me was to be able to, you know, when I'm off, take my kids to school, pick them up and have that type of life because, you know, if you do a 7 to 3, it takes you out of the loop of picking them up and dropping them off.
So valuable.
Yeah.
It really is. We get that here at the studio too, because I'm like 5 minutes from the house. And even when the kids were going to school, like I don't miss anything now.
Right.
Like when I was at my job, you're so like locked into like, you know, having to be there all the time. It's like I'd miss so many things, you know, just because I'm like, I can't get out of work or whatever like that. And now I'm just like,
Yeah, you make your own schedule now.
I'm like, see ya. I'll be there. No problem.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? A lot of value to that.
Yep. And I know it might sound corny, but I figured to myself, I was like, you know, when you're on your deathbed, you want to look back and say, did I do everything I could do?
Not corny at all.
We don't know for sure if we're all on that path. And you know what I mean? So I figured, man, get more time with your kids is the answer. So besides wanting to fish and how cool fishing is and stuff like that, besides it turning into a job and that whole thing. But
well, you're following your dream, right?
Yeah, yep.
And then
Very special.
'cause I'm always conscious of that too, because you know, starting my own business here and having this place running, you know, the way it's running now. I mean, that's my dream, but you got to make sure that your dream's not impeding on like the happiness of your family. And sometimes there's a fine line of, you know, making that work and making that, you know, it could potentially bite you in the ass. You never know. So, you know, finding that balance truly is an art, right? Sometimes. But yeah, it's like worth it all the time. You know, I would suggest that anyone who's ever like kind of on the fence about, oh, should I start this or should I make the leap or should I whatever, you know what? We talked about before this started, you're like 40 years old now.
yeah, I'll be 40 in a week.
Right. I think when,
Not sure when this will come out, but
yeah, we're not, it'll probably be in a few days, a couple days. I remember when we started the studio, I think I was 38 and I looked at it like, all right, if not now, then when, you know, and then when is there going to be that ideal time to do it?
right.
You know, you really run through all those things in your head. And the bottom line is, you know, if it's what you want to do and it's the passion that you want to follow, you know, then you got to follow it or at least make a plan.
Right.
You know, make an exit plan for yourself. Like, you know, if anyone's listening to this and they're even thinking about doing this and they're afraid to, or they like that security of having a job. But if this is really your calling to do your own thing, then you really need to make a plan, you know, and you don't just like be like, you know what, screw it. Today's the day and walk into your boss's office and like shit on your papers. Like, well, hold on, because that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Don't do it without a plan.
Right.
But if you want to do it, think it through and make a plan.
That's
and
right.
then at the end, the hardest thing to do is that last moment to where you're just like, I quit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the hardest part is the very end. But I got to tell you, once I did that, like I've never had a more liberating feeling in my life
Yep.
than
Exactly.
just cutting the cord to the grid and just being like, I'm creating my own grid. So I don't know, man. If anyone's out there's listening and just even remotely thinking about doing your own thing, that's the American dream, my friend. You know what I mean? That really is to
Working
make
for
your own
yourself.
way. You know what I mean? And, you know, this Constitution has set you up to follow your dream, right? And to make your own way and follow that path. And that's why it's so important to support small business in this country.
That's right.
Right. And people wonder why is small business so important to the economy? That's why, because it supports individual people around the world who are making it on their own. That's why.
Yep.
Whether it's a store owner or whether it's a guy that owns a lawn business or there's a guy with a charter business or there's a guy with an art studio, when you support small business, you really do support the economy directly.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents about it.
I don't recommend people become a charter captain because it takes a lot of the fun out of fishing for sure. So it a lot of customers come down and they say, "Hey, you got the best job in the world," and I appreciate them saying that, and I'm grateful and humble that I do this now, and I think it's freaking awesome, man. At the end of the day, but the alarm clock goes off, you don't pop up and you're like, "Yeah, I'm a fisherman, let's go." It's still like,
whistle while you work.
5 more minutes. So it takes the fun out of it too, I think. So
no doubt about it. Your passion takes on a completely different meaning when you have to do it for a living.
Right.
When you're required to do this and you need to make your ends meet by doing this. I mean, there's some days you're like, I don't want to do that job for that customer. I want to paint my own thing.
Right.
I'm sorry, you got to do that job for that customer because you got hungry mouths at home and you got bills to pay here, you got the rent to pay here, like whatever the case may be. You got your boat payment to make.
Exactly.
I mean, it definitely does, it changes your perspective on the whole thing. Right. And I guess that's really what it means to be a professional. When you get paid to do something for a living, you become a professional, but you have to make professional decisions and professional choices and
representing our own brands.
That's it. And it comes with the territory and, you gotta love it. Like, especially with art. And I always say this to people that want to do, be a professional artist, and kids will ask me all the time, or I have college students emailing me all the time. Or if like a lot of times I have parents with like young aspiring artists that are in high school, and they always ask me, "Do you have any advice for me?" And the first thing I always say, make sure you love this before you decide to do it before a living. Because if you don't actually love art, because people may think that just because you have the talent to create art that you love it. And that doesn't always equate, because I've met plenty of kids, whether it was while I was in art school or whether I was working in the professional world as an artist, to where they would be like, just, you were so talented. What happened to you? And they're like, I just didn't have the passion for it or whatever like that. And I would see the progression of these people leading up before they quit, before they left art school, where they would just get so frustrated and so bitter, but if you're going to do it for a living, whatever it is, whether it's fishing, whether it's art, or whether it's computers, anything, you better make sure that you really love it, because if you don't, it's going to be a long life.
Yep.
A long life of frustration.
Exactly. And I thought that through before I left too, if I would end up not liking it, always love fishing, but so I left my job with hugs from everybody, and any day you want to come back, you got a job. And
it's nice to hear that.
Yeah, they had just moved and got a huge place, so they were like, "You helped build this place, and get us here." So they were like, "We wish you nothing but success." And I was nervous as hell, like I said, but I guess you don't know until you go out and do it and try it, and then you find out if like this is for me. That's like especially pertaining to like future goals and stuff. It's like probably every captain starts out and goes, "Oh, I want a bunch of boats and everyone fishing for me, and I want to be at home in the pool while they're making money." And that's something else I look ahead and as goals, that would be cool. And I don't know if I'll want that when the time comes. It could be more of a headache or something, So you have to get out and try, I guess, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. So you grew up fishing your whole life there in Hollywood? You born and raised there?
Yeah, both grandparents had ocean access houses. So anytime I was bored, I was picking up a fishing pole and
oh, nice.
Yeah, keep myself busy and stuff like that. And I did like Dania Pier and any seawalls, docks, drift boats down there. Yeah, exactly.
Many people started as a pier rat.
Yeah, hey, me too, for sure. I remember my parents used to drop me off a pump up here.
Yep.
All the time. I grew up fishing and surfing right there in that spot.
Drop me off.
Yep. Definitely.
Come back in 4 hours or whatever.
How long you had that contender for?
I'm going on about 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Of it, And I actually got a loan from Chris that passed away that hit the rocks in Miami.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he had the wrapped Cape Horn, the
Yeah.
coral
Yeah,
one.
I remember.
So I had got it from him and miss him, and God
Yeah.
bless the dead and all that stuff. So it was pretty tragic, him and his wife. And
What is your take on that whole situation? I mean, some people are saying you got to put a light there, and like what's your outlook on that?
It goes both ways. Like you think to light things up, but I think the problem with nighttime being on the boat at any speed is lights blend in with different stuff. So even you almost have to be knowledgeable of that light itself, in other words, because
Right.
you're like,
Yeah.
is this a bright building light that we're seeing? Is this that? So in other words, we come out of Palm Beach Inlet one morning goggle eye fishing and pitch black, and there's just a vague light that's super dim, but it ends up being a sailboat that's right on top of us, but it's so dim you think it's further
Right.
away. So I don't know to light up stuff and you know what I mean, make more
Yeah.
lights. But I think from here on out, I don't care if you're, drinking or not on the boat, whatever, if it's, a fun night, I believe everyone should get around every inlet and just slow down and say, all right, guys, let's turn down the music for a second. Let's identify rocks here. Let's first come off of our speed and then, proceed through either out or in and make sure you're cleared everything. But I do believe that, different tides, with the full moons, higher highs and lower lows
Yeah.
could really, and distract you and make you think the rocks ended and then they pop back up, you know what I mean? And
A lot of these things are these new lights that they have on the boats, all these neon, these deck lights and everything. It makes it very hard to see at night.
turn off everything when we
Yeah,
go
a
goggle
lot
eye
of
fishing.
these guys we had that one recently that ran up on the jetty.
Oh, yeah, Fort
Port,
Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Port Everglades.
Yeah, it looked like they had like all their, I call them Miami Day glow lights, but
Yeah.
whatever.
It did look like that, right?
All
All
the purple lights and everything
back.
on the deck, and when you throw those on, you can't see anything.
Even the screens that
Yeah.
are in front of you, they mess you up. Sometimes you got to step to the side to look ahead of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing. When we go goggle eye fishing, I like to bring someone because we're getting older. You never, or for the older captains or anglers, whatever, anything can happen out there, and having an extra hand. So we don't ride with no radio on or anything, and we're both looking, and we just cruise. We don't wide open throttle anything, and turn most electronics off. And
I remember when Jose Fernandez died
another one.
down there. I mean, that really obviously made everyone go, "Oh, this has got to happen. That's got to happen." But you look at like the circumstances that happen. They're a big deal because they don't happen all the time. Like, wow, like if there were people running on the ground like every day or every week,
right,
then it'd be like, all right, we got to fix something.
right,
You know what I mean? But the Jose Fernandez thing, every now and then, like there's a circumstance that happens, and I'm not on the boat, so I can't say why it happened
right.
or when it happened or what the circumstance was. But, obviously when scenarios like that happen, especially when it's a high level person like Jose Fernandez, you're going to get everyone with their social media opinion saying this or that. So, but I guess that's the reason why I wanted to ask you what your opinion was, because you were close to that individual, so you probably looked at the details a little bit closer than everyone else did with a little bit more of a realistic eye. So,
Yep. I think we all need to slow down around the inlets, and that's it.
Yeah.
I know most experienced captains or charter captain, we all are pretty, navigable through there.
And another thing too is if you're new to boating or new to fishing, but not new to having a lot of money, and all of a sudden decide you want to buy this $500,000 boat, learn how to use it.
Right.
The right way. Whether you can spend $500,000 on a boat, maybe you could spend $500 to a captain for them to take you out on a day and like show you how to use the equipment and navigate the thing properly. Take a boater safety course.
That one had night vision and everything. The Fort Lauderdale one, so
Yeah.
goes to show you,
I'm not saying that was the case.
Me neither.
But
I don't think anyone died in that one. So I don't want to say, more money than brains. A lot of people make that comment on social media. I don't want to.
And that assumption,
I won't say that, and I just
But I mean, it is true. Like a lot of these guys, they'll fall into money, or they'll finally get that boat, and rather than starting out with a 17 whaler or a 25 contender or something like that, they'll go right to like a 34 or 39 CV or a yellowfin, and
with 1,700
blow
horses.
blow out everything, and get quads and all this stuff like that. It's their first boat.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah, pretty cool. But I mean, it's a lot of boat for that being your first boat. For what I mean. I don't know.
It all comes down to being responsible and respecting Mother Nature and knowing your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you said, I would take the same approach, slowing down when you get to an inlet, because even if it's marked with lights, those lights can be very deceiving sometimes, and you don't know what's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you need to be prepared and going at a reasonable speed so you can make the proper adjustments when you need to.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I thought of before I came on the show, and a lot of people with money, we have EPIRBs. I think that one thing I wanted to stress in this show was,
it's a good call.
No one talks about it. We're all holding up our fish. We're all showing off our wins or this or that. And we're all happy and grateful. EPIRBs. I don't know why it's not more and more. And it's like, dude, it's even if you bought a used one for $150, let's just say, they take them back in, supposedly make sure they're all
Refurbish
working.
them.
Yeah, and they'll be glad to do it. The service is free, and there's no price on your life. And there was just another Port St. Lucie boat. The guy went out in some little boat with like an old Johnson on it, and he went missing for a day, and then they actually found him the next day, luckily.
Yeah.
And that was,
by the grace of God.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. And then one of my close friends, his brother was the one of the firefighters from the two that went missing, and they did all the searches.
Oh, really?
Up to like North Carolina, and the same thing. No EPIRB, man. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And then there's also the famous kids that
paired
down the Jupiter way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But that's also a circumstance of juvenile conduct. You know what I mean? That the kids, can't blame them.
Yeah, no fear at that age.
I mean, I can't say that I wasn't the same way when I was their age. You know what I mean? Running out of Hillsborough and that with my buddies.
Anything I do by myself on the boat, EPIRB in the pocket. Never know.
Right.
Even the dolphin player.
Right.
Was it Conrad?
Yeah.
Bob Conrad.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
All
Are you fishing out of Jupiter now? Or are you
No,
coming down here still?
I actually trailer to Palm Beach.
You travel to Palm Beach
and go out of there. Yeah, there more bait guys that I know there, and my pens are there, and more people are. Jupiter's beautiful, but most people are like, let's go to Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah,
probably Jupiter, Florida. So
I like fishing out of there as opposed to Pompano.
I like it better for sure.
You have to run less.
Yeah.
I even compared to different guys like Art and Skip that fished out of there for years. My small time there fishing, 2, 4, 5 years, whatever, whether it was chartering or fun fishing before the charters got more serious with the charters. Even like catching kingfish, they were on the smaller side. So I was like, man, you see a 30-pounder out of Pompano, and you're like, dude, that's a nice freaking kingfish, So now up here, I'm catching 40s and 50s different times of the year, and it's so cool to just even see them and be a part of it, and definitely love that side of it for sure.
Yeah.
So,
How many of your customers are like requesting like sales versus meat, or what do you think? Most people are asking for.
I
you get a lot of out-of-state guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot come from like the Northeast and stuff, and they have a great fishery up there, from what I hear, and they're really into it, like we are down here and in New Jersey. So you get to hear a lot of striper stories and tuna stories and bluefish. So they come and tell you their stories, but. Yeah, a lot of people are happy with reeling in stuff, and I tell them we got a great fishery, and all these are combined. So I would say sailfish definitely rules.
Yeah, that's what most people are asking
would
for.
love to get my first sale, you know.
Yeah.
So, take pride in that when it does happen.
Yeah,
it feels
for sure.
good, being a part of that memory. And
I think that's important, too, from a captain's perspective, about the guests that come on, your boat, to make them feel comfortable with, what they don't know. You know what I mean? As opposed to what you do know, and, not coming off like a know-it-all, I guess, you know what I mean, and making them just have a good experience. And there's probably an art to that in itself.
It is. Yeah. You know? I like to make them laugh sometime, make a joke like, hey, you know, I'm like a Universal Studios tour guide. And that was one thing actually getting into the business. No one's going to, you know, I guess you can talk to some captains. You don't know of every question to ask if you had a second to talk to a 10-year charter captain and say, man, what's this going to be like? And blah, you know, you don't even, you're not educated on each question to ask. So anyway, I try to give them a tour and you know, they're not maybe 90% of the people aren't there to fish with Rick. You know what I mean? Or it's an excursion. So it's no different than all of us going to Jamaica and going zip lining. You don't want the zip line instructor, coach, whatever you would want to call it, to be a dick to you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
hey,
for sure.
Thanks for coming here. You know, so I had to install that. And even through slower fishing months and stuff like that, remember that this is still an excursion for them. Make it the best that you possibly can. So I like to start out right on the boat, giving them the whole rundown of, you know, Peanut Island and JFK got a bunker on there. And, you know, this is this here, Sailfish Marina, our famous, world famous tournaments are all held and hosted here. And some of the best captains have been here and, you know, 80 years of it, whatever. So that's important to remember and always try to,
you know, some captains might put their nose up at stuff like that, but you know what? It's a better day than being in an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, it doesn't suck.
Right.
It's a good time. You know what I mean? It's a good way to look at it, excursion, calling it that, you know, because anytime you go on vacation, like even if you're going to go down to like St. Lucia or like an island or something, and, you know, you do an excursion with the guy that's maybe it's a scuba tour or something like that. It's like you want to almost feel like you come out of your vacation, you go home, that you're like best friends with that dude. And almost to the point where it's like when you go down there again next year, he's going to remember you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, yeah, here's Bill. Remember us? And, you know, you high five him and whatever.
And I'm glad you brought that up, too, because that was huge for me leaving Pompano. I was like 2 years under my belt there with return customers, friends that I grew up with for years in Broward. I lost out on a lot of business, and that was scary to make that leap. But just all, you know, panned out good for me, thank God, for now. And that's it. I would say maybe 10% come to actually fish with me from, hey, we seen your Wahoo, and I made it in the Florida Sportsman magazine. Just a little thing, not a huge, you know. And, hey, I've seen that, and that's pretty cool. And then they want the story. So that's why I said most of them, they're just there to do an excursion. And
what tournament was that? What was it, a Big King?
Dolphin.
The Dolphin, that's right. Yeah,
the Fort Lauderdale meet.
That was in the Fort Lauderdale Mayhem. That's right. Yeah.
That was sick, dude.
Big mahi, dude.
66 pounds.
Wow, man. You know, when you see that thing come over the gunnel in a tournament, you're like stoked.
It was weird because Chris had just passed away, and it was like within a week or two, you know, from you know, that he left, and when I seen it, I thought of him instantly. Yeah, and it was weird because it jumped out of the water. I instantly seen first place dolphin potentially in this for someone to bring another big dolphin. But what it was, when he jumped in the waves, you know, 40, 50 yards out as he's like hauling ass, you know, he never got all the way out the water. So he looked like a 35, 40 pound dolphin tops. Yeah. Even when he got close to the boat, we still weren't like, this is a giant. You know what I mean? We still just wanted to at least what we thought would be first place dolphin and seal that deal and get him on the boat. But it was weird. And it was like from two of us gaffing it at the same time, bringing it over, it was like it grew 35 pounds from there to there. It hit the deck. The first thing I said is, what is that?
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's I love when that happens in a boat, dude. Like, you can't really match that energy level when you see a fish like that come on the boat. We
had just set up the spread, and we struck out in Jupiter, and Jupiter was actually good the day before. So we did deep Jupiter, and then we did shallow Jupiter, and then we left. We're like, dude, let's get the hell out of here. I'm getting calls from people that, you know, they're like, dude, we already got 4 kings, and we're going to work on something else now. So it's
a horrible feeling when you start hearing those calls.
Yeah, it's like 9:30, 10, and we don't have a weigher yet. We had like an 8-pound king. And then, so we set up everything, and then less than 2 minutes, that thing ate the flat line on a spinner.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much like the same spinner that caught that almost 30 days later, caught that wahoo.
The wahoo, yeah.
So
Really?
yeah, and then when we boated the wahoo with those two, I'm like, I'm gonna get struck by lightning tomorrow or something. I better enjoy this, you know. So this is the first time in my life just being grateful for the charters, but going into 2020 at the time, I was like, I can't complain. I can't say this year's got to be better. Maybe higher numbers in charters or something like that, more return customers and things like that. Maybe win some more tournaments or place higher and whatever. But yeah, fish wise, I'm like, even some of my buddies are like, get over it, dude. Like it's gonna be hard.
Those are fish of a lifetime.
Fish of a lifetime.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfreaking real, man.
Dude, I love seeing like a big old mahi like that. I mean, it's a bigger mahi than I ever caught, but I mean, when you do see like a big mahi, like even like a 50-pounder,
right,
like running up, you know, right on the side, when you finally start seeing all like the flash of the color, like right next to the boat, you're just
so excited.
That's a moment where I'm just always just like, yeah, that thing's big.
Yeah,
that's when because you can see it jump off, like you're saying. You never know really for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
When you see that thing come up.
Well, the other thing is none of us are trained to see a 60-pound dolphin. You know, a lot of us. You know, we know it's big. Let's get it, but you don't know. You know, we're all used to seeing, like I said before, 20-pound fish, 30-pound fish, occasional 40s and stuff like that. So
you see that big old flat bullhead.
Yeah.
And just how long the thing is. I love it.
And to go with it, which made it really special, both fish were caught in the same place.
Oh,
so
really?
They were about 80, 90 feet of water in between.
You got those numbers?
That's funny because it's like a dolphin you can't target. You know what I mean? A mahi's just swimming through. Right. So even little Timmy Maddock at the weigh-in's like, that thing was lost, man. You know what I mean? So it's funny. Like, but even Wicket was like, I haven't even seen nothing like this, you know? So it's pretty cool.
I remember one year, I can't remember what tournament it was. It was one of Jamie's tournaments. And some family had caught the big wahoo that day. And it was like a 70-something, 78-pound wahoo, something like that.
So cool.
And they caught it on like a dead ballyhoo.
That's
like
awesome.
Just like one of the kids was just like, oh, hey, Dad, I'm just going to like lay a dead ballyhoo. And it was like right off the stink hole. Right? And like, it was like all the rage. Like they turned like Jamie even was like dead ballyhoo right out front, like right like at like 3:30 before lines out. Like this family just they took the whole meat division and yeah, it was cool. I love hearing that. Yeah, this goes to show you what we were talking about earlier. Like I don't care if you have that huge setup and spending all that money for all the equipment. It's like you could have a scenario like that where someone in the John boat's just laying out a dead bait and that fish can just come chew on it. That's the best part about fishing to me.
My buddy Josh Coe, he calls me afterwards and he goes, dude, I've been fishing for that wahoo for 20 years with the best tackle in the best islands of fishing bodies of water that you can go to. And you had every odd stacked against you on a 20-pound outfit, you know, and the customer never fished before neither.
Oh, really?
God.
Yeah.
That was our first fish.
Right.
Oh, they're done.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't ever fish for the rest of your life. That's it. Just go out like that.
Yeah. And there was two guys and they came on. He goes, Rick, if you can get me a sailfish, you'll always be my charter captain. So I was like, all right, I'll try. No problem. I don't promise nobody anything out there, you know. I actually don't want any customers like that on the boat neither, you know. So I try to wean that out in conversations ahead, very respectfully and stuff like that. So when they're like, do you guarantee dinner and all that? I'm like, no, man, I'm sorry. I was like, dude, go to Publix and buy some mahi and save a couple $100
if you want to eat.
Those ends
go to a fancy restaurant.
Yeah, a lot of times those ends end up being the worst trips for some reason. So when they call me and the first thing they say is, you know, I just want to catch dinner. I'm like, oh my God, hey, please let's start this over.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know.
What do you say to them? I mean, you're like, we're not going to guarantee that.
I just explain it to them, just like me and you talking. I just say, listen, you know, there's no guarantees. I like to make jokes out of it so they can feel comfortable. I'll say, listen, if I could guarantee anything, I wouldn't be on the phone with you. I'd be a millionaire because I put all my money into all the side bets and tournaments and you know what I mean? Yeah, and win everything. So and we know that's not going to happen. So. You shouldn't fish to make money. That's for sure with the tournaments, you know.
So you're fishing mainly meat tournaments?
Yeah.
Right.
And I've done, that's where I've actually first met you was either 2014 or 15 Sailfish 400 in Miami, and you were there drawing something, I believe. And,
Yeah.
And then came up to you and I was like, "Oh, I love the work." And blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah.
That's that. And not to get sidetracked, but all the artwork has been some of the coolest stuff to begin with the tournaments. All these drawings and stuff. It's just like, look at this. It gets you going. It gets your blood flowing. Just to start off with, let alone competing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So anyway, I've done the Sailfish tournaments and just had to jump on with different boats and different teams, whichever way possible, and I'm trying to keep that going. My goal, like a dream or something, is to get on a great team. Like a Art Zap or something like that would always.
It's a tough nut to crack.
They're amazing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then now as I'm getting older and doing charters, I'm like, should I be an angler on a boat now? And I know like you can't just because you're a charter captain don't mean you can go out and be that tournament captain as well. Dude, I would never discredit those guys like that fast. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot and knowing which way they're tailing or throw that bait this way in front of that fish. There's so much stuff, man, and tricks and
We talk a lot about,
staying on the fish.
especially on the Tournament Talk edition with Skip and Art.
I watch it. It's awesome.
We talk a lot about chemistry on the teams and how that's so vitally important to their performance and consistency, especially for a guy like Art and especially for a guy like Skip, where they got to run the boat, they got to run the show, to know what they're getting out of each guy, so they know what they're capable of doing or what they're asking of their crew, you know what I mean? And just inevitably knowing how a person's going to respond or how fast they are or how quick they can respond to a situation. Just because you have an all-star team doesn't mean that everyone's kind of meshing well together or working well together.
Right.
So having that right crew together and also time for that crew to gel and mesh, is pretty important too. So just because you got, 7 of the best anglers on the water all on the same boat doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get success out of that team.
That's true.
As you would from a team like Native Son, who that crew's been around together for years.
Yeah.
Surreal is at the point now where they've been together for a few years.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're starting to gel and mesh, and obviously you got a lot of other great teams on the water as well.
For sure.
Chemistry is valuable.
That's right.
In that circumstance.
Yeah, that'd be a goal to get on a team like that one day. If it happens, it happens. Lately with the weather, the way it's been, I've been glad I was home. I did a Operation Sailfish 2 or 3 years ago, and it was blowing like 35, 40 the whole time. It was just retarded, like, trying to put spreads out and all that. I mean, I didn't mind getting beat up, but it was like, you know what, I've seen this before. And, I give a lot of respect to those guys now that are going through that because
Dust them Off was like that this year.
Dust them Off, yep. And it's just, I don't know how much fun you can have actually out there working. I'm sure the ride out, the captain's parties, the ride back, everybody taking shots or something is a blast. Don't get me wrong, but the last couple ones I was happy I was home.
And it could make for a long day.
Yeah,
that's for sure. A long 2 days in a lot of circumstances. I mean, I know that I really kind of stopped tournament fishing with this because I was putting all my focus into the studio and ramping this business up. And I should not, because I think if you're going to sailfish tournament, especially, so I'll do meat tournaments in the summer.
Nice.
But like sailfish season, like you really, to do it right, you got to dedicate your time. You got to do your pre-fishing.
Yep.
You got to put in the work. You got to do all your rigging.
That's right.
I just didn't have time for it anymore. Because all my time is dedicated here in the studio. But, it's a lot goes into it. A lot of dedication goes into it. A lot of money goes into it too.
Exactly, yeah.
It's sailfishing is not a cheap poor man's sport.
I like to say it's like the NASCAR of fishing,
It really is. It's an incredible thing. Like if you looked at the tournament that just happened at the Silver Sailfish.
Yep.
When the Art crew, they were up. And then I'm assuming, based on the scoreboard that I was looking at, the old number 7 hit a triple towards the end of the day.
It did look like that, right?
Yep. And then so that it's an exciting moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure for old number 7, and probably a very frustrating moment for Art.
Right.
And I really felt for him when I saw that happen. And but that's how it goes. That's tournament fishing, right? But it's an exciting sport for sure because for sailfish season, it's all on the board,
Mm-hmm.
and you know where every boat is at. Again, all the guys are on the phone, during the tournament. You're on the phones and you're seeing the live scoring, so you know exactly where you're at. So when you're on the boat, you feel the intensity.
Right.
So whereas a meet tournament might be a little bit different, you could probably guesstimate whether or not how you're going to do based upon your poundage
And
that
who
you
you
think
can
you
talk
have in the
to.
boat, or who you can talk to, and say, okay, all right, it looks like no one else. We haven't heard anyone else get a wahoo, but
Right.
you never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone might come in with a big medley, and you'd be like, oh crap.
Yep.
No
Beat you
one,
by an
no
ounce.
one even knows that guy. Like,
Yeah.
what just happened? You know.
Yeah.
But that to me is the difference between meat fishing and sail fishing, is the fact that in the moment like what's happening, but the meat is almost kind of like the big surprise at the end.
Yeah.
So both cases are great. You know what I mean? But I think that's why the other one feels a little bit more like NASCAR,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's kind of like a race at the end.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see where it all goes with how big boats are getting, because say you got Jamie Bunn's tournaments, you got the shotgun start, and now I guess up to 26 or 27 foot's a small boat, but now we're getting to an age where is a 31 contender, going to be the new small boat in 5 years, you know what I mean? And
Well, 5 years probably is now.
right.
Yeah.
And now they, some of those guys, they live and die for that race at the beginning, if you would, so it's pretty cool. Always a pleasure to see that out there as well. But, with the 65 footers and I'm not sure if that's I'm not saying a smaller boat can't be faster than that one because of weight and stuff like that. But, I'm anxious to see where it goes. I was picturing one day, I don't know, 5 or 10 years from now, like Jamie does all right, under 30 foot, shotgun start at 6, and 30 feet to 36 foot, shotgun start at 6:30, and all you big dogs can leave at 7, And,
Yeah, it's funny.
right. So, we'll see where it goes, though, right? I mean,
the sport's definitely evolved. Just the past, I guess, like 10 years, but definitely in the last 5 years with the different sizes of the boats. But, a lot of it comes down to the money in these tournaments, because those boats are not cheap to run.
right.
And I think if you're going to run your boat in a tournament like that, a lot of times they want to make sure that the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. So, you never know. I mean, you look at the Jimmy Johnson, putting out that amount of cash, in one show. I mean, and the fanfare and the hard rock involved and everything like that,
So
and
cool.
it makes it exciting to not only be involved, but the money makes it worth it for everyone to bring out all their big guns.
Right.
They're going to hire captains, they're going to hire mates, they're going to want to win that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to think that they got the boat to do it and the captain to do it. You know what I mean? But that's what keeps them coming.
Yeah, exactly.
So where it's all heading, I mean, I don't know. Because the Jimmy Johnson, that's evolved over the past 8 years, 9 years. It's become like the baddest event, and then, 15 years ago, we weren't even thinking about it.
Right.
So who knows? Where that's all going to take it. And that tournament has changed a lot about, the sport in general. About what the event could be, what the whole week can be, and that's no credit to or no disrespect to any other tournament out there, because there's certainly other tournaments out there that,
Yeah.
are huge, but it's just really the best example that I can think of about evolution of where it's heading.
Yeah, exactly. Even like Meat Mayhem in the last couple of years is
Yep, Jimmy's been doing a great job.
Swordfish, Wahoo, other islands.
Yep.
It's expanding pretty good.
Yep, absolutely.
I love fishing them all. It's fun. I look forward to most of them. A lot of them are for great causes too. That's another big thing. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because we certainly support a lot of the tournaments here that are for causes. Because here we are, been talking about the whole time about the money you can win and the sport of it all, but there's also a lot of good that a tournament can do for the community. You rally all these people together and, raise money for a good cause, or raise efforts for a good cause. You look at the Fishing for Muscular Dystrophy tournament, which was they did their first one last year, raised a lot of awareness for muscular dystrophy.
Probably donated too.
And donated
Crazy.
a bunch. Yep, for sure. A lot of people donated a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort to that one. And they're coming up on the second one too, which they've had a lot to plan for the second one. So the first one, actually, they were just like, "Hey, we want to do a tournament. Yeah, let's do a tournament." And they did it, and it was a success. But there was also certain weather aspects that almost, I think, knocked out like a whole class of the tournament last year. I know I'm speaking out of turn by saying they're not. I'm paraphrasing that whole scenario, but this year they have now a whole year to plan it and the experience of the first tournament. And if I know Paul Robertson the way I do, and Tiffany over there at Fishing for Muscular Dystrophy, it's going to be a first class event this year.
That's cool.
So that's everything they do is first class.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some like that in Jupiter as well that are go to helping sick families and kids and stuff like that. So feels good to be able to fish them for that and compete at the same time.
Yeah, and we got the
it's
FFO
like a win-win
events.
sort of. So even if you lose at the end of some of them, it's still a good feeling to know that this went.
Participate and help.
Yeah.
And I like, a week or two later, they make a post and they got some big check they're presenting to these families or that's pretty.
I love hearing the stories.
Fishing.
I love hearing the stories about the guys that win a tournament like that. And there you go.
Yeah. Bartender.
Yep. I love hearing the stories about, a guy who won a charity tournament. They'll sit there with the big fat check and they'll be like, here you go. And they'll donate the whole thing back.
That's classic.
Because that really gives everyone a perspective of like a reminder of, that's why we were here in the first place.
The big picture.
Which is always cool.
Yeah.
And then to go back to the EPIRB thing, we a small token. We won this year. We won the small boat series. We were top small boat for Jamie's tournaments, and inside the bucket was EPIRB. So we just get the Perry's mother goes to these tournaments from the Jupiter kids. So me and the team are sitting there like, man, let's donate that back. And small boat, you're not winning a bunch of money. We were happy with our accomplishments always and stuff like that. But we donated that back. And that's the other thing I wanted to finish saying with the EPIRBs is like, I think that, awareness and like I said, I can't believe like it bothers me so bad to see like a dad and he's holding his daughter and the dad is the one missing out at sea right now with no EPIRB. And it's like, dude, you got that little girl's worth an EPIRB right there, man, let alone two of them on the boat or something like that. So
no doubt about it. I think especially a guy like you, who's a family man, is on the water all the time. You know what I mean? It's got to hit home seeing something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It does. And I think most of your guys that have the nicer boats and more money, if you would, they definitely have all the EPIRBs, ones that go off if you sink, a couple handhelds, guys have them in their backpacks. But I think we need to, even if you're at the boat ramp, go up to a guy and just tell him, say, hey, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, man, but, if you're letting your kid go out, or if you see, the kid launching the boat with the dad and the kid's going off, talk to them, make sure they got it on the boat or try to spread the awareness, try to help somebody, because like I said, I can't believe people even go out without one anymore. You know what I mean? It's just, it's nuts.
And even, taking basic courses like CPR courses and stuff like that is probably an important thing to consider doing because, these things don't become important until the moment actually happens. Then that's the moment when you kick yourself and saying, I wish I would have, or wish I did.
One button and the convoy's coming.
Yeah, it was something. You know what I mean? Take all the necessary precautions, and because at the end of the day, you're isolated out in a body of water. You know what I mean? And something happens, your outboards go, or you know what I mean, or something really serious happens on the boat.
Anything.
Yeah, someone gets injured. Billfish jumps on a boat, punctures somebody. You know what I mean? And you don't have enough time to run back or whatever the case may be. We don't necessarily have that much of a problem with that here because we're so close to the shore.
Right.
But still, you know what I mean? It's, that's, you got Bahamas runs and different things like that too involved, and you never know what can happen. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Cause a lot of times you get like guys that grew up on boats, fishing boats, like we all probably did. And it's like not so imperative to, learn about boater safety or how to handle yourself on the water because there's all that local knowledge in your head. But, with that comes also a little cockiness at times too. So, your ego's not your amigo. Basically is what we always say.
Yep.
And, but then also for the novice guys, just be a little smarter than some of those that don't. I'm basically in full support of what you're saying. You can't stress that enough.
And I don't know the guys that hit the rocks or anything like that. This new boat, but First thing my dad did was make me do a boating safety class before he'd even let me go into the ocean by myself. So I'd sneak out a couple times, you know,
Right.
just get out there. But he's like, yeah, my dad made me do it. So I just went to a normal Coast Guard thing. I want to say it was about a month, and then you took a test, and it's either 1 or 2 classes a night at the time, and that was at Hollywood Courthouse. So I think they're all over the place, especially now with the Coast Guard auxiliaries and stuff like that. They're all for knowledge, but like we said, you know, someone gets a nice fancy boat, now they're a know-it-all hotshot out there, and don't even have that course under their belt where, like we said, if they learned anything from it, you know, it would be a little more of an advantage. So,
you know, I'm thinking maybe at this week we might be able to shoot some resources up on the screen right about now. If anyone is wondering, if anyone's watching us and wondering where to go.
Or what an EPIRB is.
Or what an EPIRB is, exactly. And, you know, where to go to take those courses, or, you know, if there's anyone listening that, you know, you don't have to tell everybody. You could just think in your head and you know who you are.
Right.
You'd be like, oh, I didn't do that. I probably should have done that.
Exactly.
Or even if even if you are an experienced person, but you're going to start bringing your family out with you, and maybe your wife doesn't know or whatever like that, it might be beneficial for the entire family, for you and your family to go to one of these courses together as a unit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because this way, when you're all on the boat after taking the courses, everyone's kind of in lockstep as to what's supposed to be done and what's supposed to happen.
You never know what's going to happen to somebody, because the person that might know all of it, they might be the one that's injured or can't do anything, and then you got all these other people that don't know what to do in that situation.
Yep. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think it's important for everybody on the boat to be.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
What if dad goes down?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, is the wife going to grab the wheel? Maybe she doesn't know how to navigate waters, or, you know, even use a compass. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, you know, I hope that didn't sound like I was, you know, coming down on women for anything, but it's a real circumstance.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah. Education.
Yeah. I mean, so, you know, please, you know, John just put up some resources up on the screen. You know, if you are in the market or in the thought process of taking one of those safety courses, or just becoming more secure on the water for you and your family, at the very least, hit one of those links or go on and read up on about it if you're thinking about it. So, I mean, it's the best thing we can say about that right now.
Yep.
I mean, boater safety is paramount.
It is. And that's like another thing with me. I'm all for having fun and having some drinks on the boat, and it's so nice and exclusive, if you would, you know, but at the same time, I don't know why anyone wouldn't, especially at night, just stop for 1 second, turn down the music, let's locate these rocks, you know what I mean, and then and keep going. It just boggles me, but yeah.
You know what this made me just think of? The thing that Craig and Brad were talking about on the previous podcast in Venice with those
all
gas
the
things.
gas mines.
I'm still like thinking about that. So if you ever fish in Venice,
No.
Louisiana, I mean,
That's a goal, a bucket list goal too.
I've never fished there either, but they were telling us that there's these spots where, because, you know, there's like a lot of drilling goes on in that area, right? But there's these spots like inshore, these gas pipes that were cut off, or
they're just sticking
again,
out
I'm
of the water.
paraphrasing. Yeah, they're just kind of sticking out of the water. Sometimes you see them. Yeah,
Jeez.
and you
These
gotta
guys
know.
are running through there, and just you gotta really know where those are, or just keep right on your track. If you went out the same way, just don't friggin' move off of there, because they said if you run them over and hit them, some of them can blow.
It's the freakiest thing.
That's crazy.
Like, imagine that you're just like driving around, all of a sudden, like
Boom.
your ass
Super scary.
explodes.
That's
Or just-
crazy.
Yeah,
Any collision out there too is scary, I believe. You know?
Yep.
yeah,
I've seen refrigerators floating and freaking.
Yeah, you
All
never
types
know
of
what's
stuff.
out there.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. I still can't get over the whole Venice thing.
Yeah.
Like, just like gas pipes sticking up. It's like, who would want to run through there ever?
Yeah.
Because you really want to go
They
fishing.
said the guys do it every day. They're running in and out of there, because I guess it's like a shorter way to go. The big boats can't run out there because I guess it's shallower. But all the inshore guides and stuff, they run in and out of this channel or whatever for miles. And there's those old gas pipes or whatever sticking out all over the place.
God, shorter way to go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we want to go to Walmart. It's right there. It's like, hey, you got to walk through that minefield first. Or you can drive 10 miles that way and drive 10 miles back.
Yeah, no thanks.
Wow.
We have it
You
good
ever-
here.
You ever been in any hairy situations with the water?
Yeah. recently came across basically the coyotes smuggling in, people from another country, and they were broke down and needed help and stuff like that. So,
Really?
yeah, we seen that they had kids on the boat, so we pretty much called it in, and it was pretty rough. It was like 5 foot, so all I could think, I wanted to mind my own business, but with the kids being on the boat, my customers knowing that I seen there was kids on the boat, it was hard, and like I said, it was rough, and they were getting closer to Jupiter, and was just thinking of safety, first. So I actually called Cito. And, told them, hey, there's a boat out here in distress, and let it go from there. But then as we were fishing, we look inshore, and there was Coast Guard helicopters. And
How long ago was this?
Probably like 2 months ago, something like that.
Really?
Yep.
You have pictures of it?
I didn't take any. We were, what raised my attention was there was no FL numbers or any boat numbers on it.
What kind of boat was it?
It was probably like a 24 Mako or something.
Oh, really?
Like that. Yeah,
it was like a center console?
2 engines, and the guy could barely speak English, and he's asking me for gas. He's like freaking tatted from head to toe. Yeah. And I'm like, I knew not to get close, and you know what I mean? I was like, God, I hope these guys don't start shooting or something. I didn't know what to think. They could have just
been from Opelika.
Let's drink to that.
Sorry. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I did. Sorry.
So, I got a call from Border Patrol thanking me, and they were like, Ben, these 2 guys were like highly wanted in the Bahamas for, numerous things.
Yeah.
So that was one really. Yeah. That one stood out a lot. So they once when you came up to the boat, you could just see, he was standing on the gunnel flagging me down, So my customers ended up saying they were actually people from here that I grew up with that chartered me out basically. And they were like, Rick, I didn't know if they were going to start shooting at us, man. I really was ready to start ducking because in that situation, they're desperate and they have nothing to lose, so they'll kick you off your own boat, you know what I mean, and take it, Yeah, so basically all you seen was 2 guys, and once we were just sitting there talking, drifting, keeping distance, we end up on the side of them, and then everybody, 12 people had life jackets on, and they were all like, hunkered down all throughout the boat. So I was like, what the hell?
Wow.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that too. Like if the dude like pulls out a gun, you think everyone's in the goodwill mindset, but.
And then those guys, like, that's like a black market type of thing, I guess. I don't know, but.
You don't think they're like people being trafficked on that boat, do you?
No, they were.
They were being trafficked?
I got it. I don't know. Oh, like kidnapped, I guess?
Like
no, I don't know about that. No, I think they were paid to smuggle them here. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's a form of trafficking or not.
I guess technically it is.
Trafficking.
I guess when you think of human trafficking, you think like the movies, so like Liam Neeson kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's the name of the movie? I'll find you. I'll kill you. Or whatever. Remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Taken.
Yeah, that's what
but
I
now
think about.
It's a meme. I'll find your fishing spot and I will fish it. Highly trained set of skills.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's
plug
great.
it in.
Oh man.
Another cool thing I seen. Probably my second time. I was. This is probably 8-9 years ago. My second trip in the boat I had just bought, which kicked off everything for me at the time. For me buying my own boat myself.
Right.
We're far. We can't even see the shore. We're just dolphin fishing, and we see a big old white clump of something. So obviously, we're all gonna go check it out. Ends up being a Rubik's cube of party balloons that must have fell off a cruise liner. It was like 6 feet, but just wrapped in balloon, everything tied together.
Really.
And as we get closer, blue marlin comes out the water, and this thing was like an Air Force jet,
Right.
So it basically, it shot out about 12 times, and he was there eating schoolies. That's what he was doing.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say the balloons were like attached to his dorsal fin.
And then back to someone like you. No, they weren't. That would have been so cool.
He's like skimming across the ocean with these trailing balloons all over the place.
We troll by it, and I don't have any
paint that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any tackle on the boat that's going to hook that marlin. We were screaming because of how cool what we're watching. You don't get to see that a lot. I mean, this marlin was 12 foot. You know, I don't know if it was a full adult blue marlin. It wasn't no baby neither though. Mm-hmm. So he was there chowing, but so we're screaming, and we ended up hooking into like a 35, 40 pound bull dolphin off of that. I don't know if he was there eating schoolies too, right? Yeah. Nice. So anyway, we end up getting far away from this thing, fighting that for a while. You know what I mean? And then that was pretty much it with that.
You know, those Mylar balloons are. I see a lot of
you
them
do.
out there.
I try to pick them up, especially at the beginning of a charter for good karma.
Yeah.
You know, let alone saving our oceans or something like that, or helping out cleaning.
I had a situation happen recently where, because I'm always on the show bad talking Mylar balloons, right? And here I am, this is my daughter's birthday last week, and like I was kind of in a rush leaving the studio, and she was having a party at the park, just like with some of her homeschool group. Right? So I'm like, I gotta rush out of here. I gotta go there. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't have any balloons for a birthday party. So I'm like, I bit the bullet, and I ran to the Publix and I grabbed a couple of Mylar, like frozen balloons and stuff like that. So whatever. So drive down there. Then we go over to my mom's later that day, and she's carrying the balloons with her everywhere we go. And sure enough, you go to put them in my truck, right? So they got the little weights on them, but one of them didn't have a weight that was really holding it down. So you really had to like kind of hold it. So I open up the door of my truck, and I put them in there, right? And they're like float to the ceiling. I'm like, all right, cool. They're staying still. Mm-hmm. Sean comes around the other side, and he's like, whoosh, like whips the other door open. That one goes, sucks right out of the truck and like flies away. And I'm like, I felt like such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
At that point.
That was an accident, though.
Yeah, but still, Mylar balloons are bad.
Yeah.
So it could be done with them, and then so much talk of a helium shortage. It's like, man, dude, you know, save the helium for the kite fishing guys.
I heard that, there you go. I heard that Dixie Divers off 10th there in Pompano's starting to really say, hey, we got all your helium for you. You know, they want to be a helium spot.
Nice.
So, a little shout out to them, I guess.
I see Skip online referring people to there. I've never been there, so, and obviously I'm further north now, so I had to find. That was another thing with moving.
I think they're under new ownership now.
Bone dry over again. Find my helium places. Find this. Find that. So
yeah.
We also, back to the marlin thing. We did release a blue marlin this year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It actually came. Well,
where?
We released a dead blue marlin, I should say. We fought it on light tackle, 20 pound, you know, we were just dolphin fishing and hooked into it, and I got all the jumps on videos. I'm screaming, losing. I look back and I just see, you know, I see the jump, and I was like, cool. You know, you do hook in a sailfish occasionally, dolphin fishing, you know? So I see this thing go up, and I'm like, that's a pretty sailfish, you know? And I'm like,
right.
Oh, damn sailfish.
Right.
So, we fight that for over an hour and a half. He did every single amazing jump that you could want out of a marlin, you know, and then it sounded. So it probably took you know, customers. So, you know, and it was a 15-year-old kid's birthday.
Oh, that happened on a charter?
Yeah, on a charter.
Oh, wow.
15-year-old on his birthday, and basically from talking to people and stuff like that, once you catch these marlin on 20 pound and light tackle, and it takes that long, most of them are going to come up dead. So unfortunately, when we finally got him, you know, up, he was just pretty much gone. You know? So we got a picture of a dead marlin, and then it was too short to keep, which sucked, dude, because I hate killing something or something had to die that didn't need to, you know, so let it go to stay out of trouble, which there should be some law, like if you could record it all, because I mean, I'm sure something ate it, you know,
proof of death kind of thing.
Yeah, circle of life. But then how many people are going to be doing that now?
Right.
You know,
it
died.
Yeah,
right.
But it hurt to let that thing go, you know, especially dead. So that, and then when I actually got up here, one of my first or second charters hooked into another blue right out front. So that was cool. That was
today?
Huh?
Today?
What do you mean?
What did you say when you first got here?
Yeah, when I first moved up to Palm Beach and started chartering out there, it was like my first or second charter.
I thought when you first moved, got here today.
No, it was a return. Yeah, it was a return customer.
That's how you got that call.
Return customer, and he has really good luck. So I was like, man, we'll see what today brings. It'd be nice to get a wahoo. I like to always think wahoo, but We hook into that. It was a 4-hour charter and a 5.5-hour fight, and we hooked it in 100 feet of water, and it brought us out to about 700 feet of water outside of like Hope Sound. So from Palm Beach inland, it took me like an hour and a half to get back.
Yeah,
It's 4-hour
that's a
charter
long
turned
ways.
into like an 8-hour
Yeah.
trip, you know. So we got the leader touch on that, and that after we got the
See,
lead.
Captain Ricky's willing to work hard for you.
Yeah. There you go. Heck yeah, plug. And got the leader touch on that, and then he sounded again and just broke us off. So
Yeah.
at least that one lived.
The same guy now
What?
with the All right.
No, that was a different trip, different customer. Sorry.
Different customer.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say, you're lucky Marlin guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then, well,
That is a lucky guy.
this year, right around May too, off the Kite, we hooked into a small blue, and then up jumping off, and then the Osprey, which is another charter boat up there. He actually was. I called him afterwards because I heard Osprey landed like a 300-pound marlin or close to 300, and that's what I thought I seen, you know. And so I called him and I said, you know, where you here? And he ended up was just set up north of me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's the same fish or if there was a couple moving through there, but
Yeah.
so since I've been in Palm Beach, 3 in less than 2 years.
You know, there's
Pretty cool.
there's Marlin out there.
Yeah.
It's just, you know,
Especially in the summer.
Yeah.
You're chasing all these mahis coming through.
it's just not, you know, you just don't go for them here because your numbers are not going to be
Right,
You know,
right.
wasn't it Rufus coming on and talking about that? I think it was he that brought that up. You know, there's plenty of marlin off the coast of Florida. It's just that your hookup numbers aren't going to be the same as they are in like Dominican Republic or Bahamas or other places like
You're not
that.
targeting them like
yeah,
you
so you're
said.
not going to target them because you're
Yeah.
getting more bang for your buck going for like kings and mahis and blackfins and stuff like that and sailfish.
Mm-hmm.
So
They'll still eat your dead bait, your
yeah,
ballyhoos and
That's what
stuff.
that one ate with the
Yeah.
15-year-old
Yeah.
offshore ballyhoo. Boom.
Yep.
Piped it.
yeah,
I one time we went out this summer for a dolphin charter, and all of a sudden, man, like it got a little fishy, you know. So we kind of like we're slowing down, just looking at everything. Me and Max, my mate, and all of a sudden, all these schoolies come flying out of the water like flying fish, dude. It looked just how flying fish would shower. It was all mahi, and I never seen anything like that. And I go, dude, there's
awesome.
there's something here.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
probably a marlin. Below.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got to be right.
So cool to see like all these different like scenarios out there that happen, you know, whale sharks and stuff, you know.
Yeah. When you're on, you get 206 charters
Yeah,
a year. You're going to see a lot of stuff, right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what tournaments you going to line up? You going to fish this year? Do you know yet?
I'm gonna do meet all Jamie's tournaments, the Meat Mayhem, probably Meat Mayhem, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and I think that's all he got for.
You never do any travel
a
tournaments?
local one, not yet.
No, not really.
I don't have the funds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah,
It's
they got
not
pricey.
cheap,
Yeah,
right.
they got pricey.
Well, and then with us too, you got to picture how much time do you need to take off for these?
Right.
A week or two?
Right.
How many charters are we missing?
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not just spending; you're also missing money at the
Right.
same time. So
Yep.
I'll leave that to the paid guys. You know, endless funds.
That's what people always ask me to set up for an event or go to an event or something like that. It's like, well, that's a day out of the studio.
Yeah.
That I'm not working.
Yeah.
So it's going to be worth it. You gotta
Congrats too, man. This place
Thank
is
you.
beautiful. Dude.
Thank you
I
very
love
much.
it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. Everyone says that when they first get here. They're like, oh man, I didn't realize it was such a place, and I think some people have this misconception that I'm just like working out of my garage. It's a full on business. I mean, Connected by Water proper is an apparel company, and I just happen to be an artist that owns it. And that's kind of, what we're trying to explain to people now. It's not, when you call me and you want to just get a shirt designed, it's not, okay, I'm going to do the design. It's like we do it all. We're a one-stop shop. So, so we got, full staff here and a network and the internet that doesn't work.
At least
today. God, it's so frustrating. Yeah.
What do you got next coming? If you don't mind me asking.
What's today? We got a bunch of things coming up. I mean, our big thing is we start ramping up for the Jimmy Johnson because I'm the artist for the Jimmy Johnson every year, and we do a whole bunch of things for that. We do a custom painted guitar for that every year.
Sick, all of them.
Thank you. That gets auctioned off this year. We're doing a double neck because we want to celebrate the fact that it's all going to be held in the Guitar Hotel.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're going to do a lot more events this year. We're going to be setting up for, different boat shows and, different seafood festivals. We got Pompano Seafood Festival coming up. We're considering setting up for things like Sunfest and all that. But, at the moment, we're focused on our project list, our new e-com retail push that we're putting forward. We're getting ready for summer to ramp up our retail store for summer. The list is endless around here. I think we got 150 open projects, which is crazy, mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
But, we're as busy as can be. There's no shortage of work around here, so that's for sure, which, knock on wood. But, that still doesn't mean that we don't want to come up with unique and new and exciting things to do because we're always evolving and always doing new things around here. So, but yeah, as far as events goes, I think we're going to ride out January on our projects, get through February, do some sales and promotions, and then we're going to be full on into the Jimmy Johnson. So it's cool. It's cool. We're making these
awesome
these cutting boards for the event, which is going to be really, really cool. They're like high quality bison and glass cutting boards that we're going to be giving out for that. And we're going to have some artwork on auction, some reproductions and things for that. So, it's always a good event. This year is going to be at the hotel.
Nice.
It's just going to be off the charts. So we're really, really looking forward to that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, and
I haven't done Jimmy's. I want to do it, I haven't had an invite to do that one yet, or
out of all
maybe do the
the
meat
tournaments,
fish.
I've done a lot of tournaments. I've been involved with a lot of tournaments, especially from the business side of it, like the artwork. That's the best organization and show that I've been involved with.
Really?
Without a doubt. They treat me like king.
That's cool.
They treat everyone, first class. I think that's an important thing about that tournament. It isn't just about the money. It isn't just about the hard rock. It's about, how they treat you. Everybody that's involved.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I need me a wrap on the boat.
You want to wrap your boat?
Yeah.
Let's wrap your boat.
All
We'll
right.
talk about it after the show.
Okay.
For sure. We do that all day long.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Doing them all the time. So
Okay.
that's how we roll.
There you go.
So cool.
Yep.
Cool, man. You good?
Enjoying the
nice.
Pilar.
The Pilar.
Pilar.
So what else is up with you? Tell me some stories.
Got a swordfish on 20-pound test.
Really?
That was another one. Yeah.
You're dropping with 20?
No,
Wow.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. I was on my boy James Fenn's Contender. He calls me. He goes, "Hey man, why don't you do some fun fishing? Because like we talked about doing something for a living now. My fun fishing has gone down to nothing."
That's the thing, man. People are always like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter about you. You're doing what you love." I'm like, I can't tell you I can't remember the last time I painted for myself.
Right.
Everything I do here is tied to a job. And if it's not tied to a job, I'm going home to play with my kids. That's
Right.
about it. I don't pay for myself anymore,
Gotcha.
which is not good, but
Right.
that's just the reality of it.
What was I saying?
So the swordfish,
Yeah. So
fun fish.
yeah, they're long story short, they're bringing up the swordfish. I put out one of my bonita strips, a sea witch, and a squid skirt, and just put it out the back, out of the way, and monitor that line so it doesn't get tangled in anything they're doing and stuff like that. So it's the end of the day, and they're like, "Hey, let's bring everything up. Let's call it a day, guys." So they're bringing one up. I'm like, "Man, we think we got one on, and if we do, it's not very big or something like that." So I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So they go to undo the weight, and that transition sometimes with sorting, the fish. That's a very important time.
Right.
While you're sword fishing, getting the weight off and staying tight and all that stuff. So they end up losing it or think they lose it. So I look over to my left and my freaking 20-pound outfit with the bonita strip is just bent over, dude, ripping line. So I'm like, I'm tight. And I'm just thinking I'm gonna have a 15-pound dolphin or
bonita.
just a cruiser. So all of a sudden it scopes out behind the transom and I'm there, and here comes the swordfish, jumps out like a sailfish, dude.
That's
So I'm like,
sick.
That's sick. That's awesome.
yeah, and this is after the mahi after the Wahoo. So at the beginning of the trip, there were some people on the boat that I got introduced to, you know, once again, just fun fishing. And James is like, yeah, Ricky's Jesus is Jesus' disciple over here. This guy has crazy luck. And I'm like, oh, James, come on, dude. You know, thanks for saying that. But that's, you know, I like what you said. Your numbers being out there are going to increase your odds. Jimmy David in Miami is always catching marlin. He's sick fisherman. So much stuff happens to them and them. They're incredible fishermen anyway. So we hook into, we landed like about a 42-pound bull dolphin on the way out. So we had that and a bunch of nice dolphin. And then I want to say I caught probably a 28, 29-pound bull as well that same trip before we even started sword fishing.
Right.
So he's sitting there telling him, this guy's such good luck.
Like a good day.
Yeah, it was a sick day. The picture's unreal. James just actually framed me up one for Christmas and stuff like that. It was pretty cool of him. So anyway, yeah, this thing jumps, and I'm like, hey, man, I only got 40-pound Usuri on there, so this not going to last. You know, I'm thinking it's going to fray us off at some point, you know, and pray to God he don't sound with that tackle, you know. So luckily, since
you stayed up top the whole time?
He did. He went about 20 feet down. You know, we couldn't see him, but that's when I was starting to say, hey, guys, I only got 40 Usuri, so this is could be really quick. So if you get a gaff shot, go for the gusto. Somebody do something or harpoon it or whatever. So about 5 minutes later, work it up, and it was pretty much dead after that, you know, or lifeless, I should say. It wasn't that big. Maybe, I think James said about 65, 70 pounds. That's not, you know. But
that's nice for that
I
setup.
know.
Still,
Just
though,
like,
in
this year of the 20-pound test, is like I like to call it.
The year of the 20-pound test.
Blue marlin, wahoo, this, that, big king, 50-pound kingfish and stuff like that. So I guess James went in the Bobby Boyle studio and telling them the story, and they're like, man, we never really heard of that. So they didn't know if they, you know, maybe thought they were full of crap or something like that.
Right.
So they say they
Well, you just told everyone the whole story on record. So
yeah, exactly.
It's going to live on the internet forever now.
Yeah, right. That's fine. You know, they say that also when you're sword and you hook one, maybe there's another follower.
Right.
But we know that wasn't the follower because he would have just freaking been so full of energy. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And they say they don't have a swim bladder. So they say that, you know, they're pretty vicious, and there's stories of them attacking props after they've been hooked instead of like, oh, God, I'm free. Let me go relax. You know,
Right.
They're still trying to eat, you know. So that's
killer.
It's sick, dude. Yeah. Just
Dropping with 20.
I know. That was fun.
I was like, what?
So
That's killer, man.
you know,
I need to get out and fish more, John. Come on. Take
What
me
do you
fishing.
mean? I don't have a boat.
No, I'm saying we just
We
need
can
to
go snook fishing though.
We always talk about it. We're going to walk the beach and go snook fishing.
I have the pictures of these too, John. So if you need me to email anything, you want to upload
Yeah,
them for the show or something
for sure.
like that.
I'm taking
Yeah,
notes of everything.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
he does a diligent job over there,
Thank you.
breaking his wrist every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving the show, man.
You like it?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm not too educated on all the is the podcast? Are there stations, and how does that all work? I see the apps on the phones.
So for those of you watching at home, you're watching on YouTube, right? And we have that YouTube uploaded on our YouTube channel.
That's how I
you
watch
could,
everything.
You could also view it through our website. We have a mechanism where you just do it right on our site. But also we're radio.com, Spotify. What other channels?
I'll list them all below. I can't remember all of them.
List them all up below. That's the stuff that John and Justin handle, and I'm not Mr. Technical.
And you guys
at
can
all.
keep track of all the viewings.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
YouTube you can, but on all these apps and stuff.
Yeah, so
That's
we
awesome.
use something called Libsyn. It's that's the website that distributes it to all the radio sites and stuff, and you can keep track of all your viewership and everything from there of all the different sites.
Is that how you pronounce it? Libsyn?
Libsyn,
I've been telling everyone Lisbon.
It's Libsyn.
He goes, Don doesn't ever want to correct me. You got to correct me.
Right.
Lisbon. Libsyn?
Libsyn.
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 That's where we do it. So, but yeah, so we're all, you know, if you just want to do audio only, or, you know, I like the video component. You could throw it up on your computer while you're working or something like that, or throw it on your phone, you know, when you're driving.
I started the gym recently, and I was like, man, this is going to be, with the kids and time, it's hard to go home and go, hey, everybody don't talk to me. I'm watching Dennis's podcast here on YouTube.
That's the thing I tell people.
Don't say a word. I can't. So.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. That doesn't make sense.
In the gym now, I'm able to listen to it, say there's time you're sitting, I'm watching, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Freaking
I always tell people, like Harris, I'll tell that all the time. He's like, he always make fun of him. Like, oh yeah, you're part of the company, but you don't ever listen to the podcast. He's like, I can't do it. I don't ever have time to do that. And I'm like, well, when you're driving around, play it on YouTube or one of these other channels and just play it over your Bluetooth in your truck while you're driving around town or you're running your errands or something like that.
Right.
To me, that's the only time I ever really listen to it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really, watch. I mean, I live it. I don't really like go back and watch every episode.
Right.
Like, I'll watch it just to see, like, there are certain parts that I know we was like, oh, I want to see how that part came out. You know what I mean? Or, or if I remember there was a story where there was a video that maybe I didn't get to see, I'll go back and watch my own podcast to see that part just so I can see the video of the thing that we talked about. Yeah. Or sometimes I'll watch them all the way through, or here I'll play them at the studio. But for the most part, the time I get with them mostly is in the truck when I'm driving around. You know what I mean? I'll just throw it around, throw it over the Bluetooth and just kind of like listen to it that way. I don't even necessarily watch it.
Right.
I'll just listen to it.
Yep. Same here. I was listening to the one with Bernie on the way here.
Yeah.
So, got to finish that. I'll start one and I'll make sure I finish it and then move on to the next one.
It was one of our Christmas episodes.
Yeah. And I seen you did one with Fly and I haven't got a chance to watch that.
That one was cool. That one was long. Fly and I got going on Northern Lights and all that kind of stuff, though. Fly's a good dude, though. He's a talker.
Yeah.
He's good people.
I see him around at the tournaments. I think I just seen him in the barber shop that we go to up in Jupiter. But I don't think I've formally met him.
Yeah. So. No, I've known Fly a long time, and he's I love him to death, like a brother, for sure. So, but no, man, it's been fun. It's been an adventure, putting it all together, and then scheduling the guests. And I don't really research like anybody. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Before they come on, I mean, maybe I'll look at your Facebook or your Instagram or something to see some people's like recent catches or something like that, just so when they talk about it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. Or I'm already like ahead of the curve. But
right.
I mean, for the most part, I'm just, what you see is what you get. This is me hanging out, talking, and that's all it ever really is. It's not I don't overthink this show at all.
That's the thing. Before I came on, I was like, a lot of the guests, they got something to offer, and I can. And I know you didn't want to base the whole show completely around, straight fish talking, if you would. So,
that's really the whole point of the show is that we get behind the people. Yep. You know what I mean? And it's not just it's not a fishing show,
right?
Really, you know what I mean? Now, most of the people that come on here are fishing related because most of my friends
connected by water.
Yeah, that's how I know everyone mostly.
Yeah. But like Bruce got the Marine Watch.
Yeah,
thing. That's
we
very helpful.
We want to put a spotlight on the culture and the community. That is connected by water. Basically, It's not connected by fish. It's not connected by hooks, fishing line, or anything. It's connected by water. And there's a lot to be said for the culture behind it. And sometimes that gets lost in the whole mix of people holding fish up on social media and saying it's all about the fish. It's not always all about the fish. That's like the one moment that capitalized for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But more often than not, some of my favorite parts of the day are just being out there. And being among your friends, not working,
making memories.
Making memories and, just, I don't know, changing your perspective. Different for you because that's your office now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
it's like you said, you can have a slow, crappy captain fishing day, if you would, or you can have a slow, memorable, fun day. So I at least want at the very end achieve that for them as well.
Yeah, and I can relate too because
slow day, but
when people come into the studio too, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? I'm so used to it. You know what I mean? And also, art's been my life for my entire life, so it's nothing new or nothing special to me because this is just kind of just I always say being an artist isn't what I do; it's what I am. But I always got to kind of take a step back and remember that when people come to the studio, an art studio isn't like an everyday occurrence for most people. So when they come here, I want them to at least be, treated with hospitality and respect and make their art studio experience, if not a memorable one, but a meaningful one, and if people want to see some work, I'll give them a little tour. I'll take them through some of the prints and, have a good conversation with them about art and no question is a stupid question. I always got to remember that too. And,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. It's like, because people don't live in that world.
Right.
You know, most people don't,
That's true.
you know, so they can love art, they can appreciate art, they can love fish, you know what I mean? But as far as like, especially something as specific as marine art, you know, I just want it to be a memorable experience when people come to the studio too. You know, I don't ever want to have someone tell a story like, oh yeah, I went to that dude Dennis's studio and the guy was such an a-hole, and you know, and
Right.
I don't ever want anyone to say that about me.
Right.
Because I don't think I am like that, but you know, I don't want people to ever say that for sure.
Yeah. Everyone I talk to is ecstatic. I know you just did some stuff for my boy Benny.
Mm-hmm.
He's on another small boat like
Yep.
mine, and oh yeah, the studio cool. And,
Yeah, I love Benny, man. Benny's good people.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's another one that took the leap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's actually an interesting story too as well. Me and him, we went halves on the CV that he's in right now.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and at that time, I wasn't really I wasn't a professional charter captain or had my license yet. You know, maybe take someone out here and there. You know, because it's, oh Rick, you do pretty well. You know, take me out. So Benny, you know, me and him talk about it and joke about it now. We, you know, I told him at the time, I said, dude, this is gonna be a domino effect for you, you know, and it's all gonna just keep going, and watch what we'll sit back and watch it unfold as you go. So he's just pretty much took off, and he bought me out of that boat. You know, we both, I went and got my license, and we're both too busy for one boat. You know,
Yeah.
So, and that's where Chris come in to give me the loan for the Contender. Why, you know, me and Benny were figuring out our finances with that one, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
What you know what I wanted to ask you? What your kids are both of them? You know, can you see the talent for art in one or both or?
Yeah. My daughter, like 100% for sure.
So it's
A little bit my son, but he's got more of a mechanical mind, to where, you know, he loves taking things apart and putting things together, and is really good at it. Like, you can't grab a screwdriver in the house without him grabbing it out of your hands and saying, no, I'll do it. You know, he just loves.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he just loves that. But my daughter, she'll paint the world if you give her enough paint.
So 40 years from now, they're going to be coming to see her. Can you make these shirts and
Yeah.
and wrap my boat? And
Yeah.
the name lives on.
For sure. I mean, they're already talking about. We were just painting my daughter's room. She mentioned that. She's like, one day when I'm working at Connected by Water, can.
No,
Hold on a second there.
Yeah, you're gonna go to.
Yeah.
What do you do for college with the homeschool? Is that like at that point they're adults and they go?
Well, yeah. I mean, more often than not, to be honest with you, the homeschool kids are more advanced than
Right, like we
regular
talked
curriculum
about,
school
full
kids. Yeah.
attention.
So I'm not worried about any college procession or anything like that, but I want them to really just follow their path where they want to go to school, whether it be, you know, if my daughter wants to go to Pratt and study fashion design, go for it. You know what I mean? If my son wants to go to MIT or if he wants to go to FAU, I mean, it's all, I mean, they're only 6 and 9. So, you know, but right now, I mean, that's consistently been, you know, their skill sets so far as, you know, I mean, they like sports, but they're not into it as much as they are like artistic things. You know, my daughter loves music and she loves art and painting and fashion and all the things like that. And my son is just, he's going to be an engineer. That's what we always say, or an architect or something like that. But you never know.
That's
you
like
know? You just want to support them in any way you can.
My daughter. She's knowledgeable of the fishing, but like she's been out, you know, on a hot summer day in a tournament and just wants to go home. I don't blame her. It's
tough for kids.
Yeah, and there's no wind and it's hot, and even in the trip, you know, I want to.
Some days I get like that.
Yeah,
you're just like, man, let's just end this.
We
We're
all
not catching
do.
any fish today. There's no wind, ain't nothing biting. Let's go.
Yeah, but my son, he's like, that's a wahoo, that's this, that's it, you know, and he's only 5, and
yeah,
he actually placed this year in one of Jamie's tournaments for under Pee-wee angler.
Oh,
so
very cool.
got him some
That's gotta be a
some
proud moment
hardware
for
for
you,
the,
huh?
Yeah. We got one wall at the house with like a mount and all the trophies and plaques and stuff like that. So now, you know, he's up on. They call him up on the stage to get his trophy, and I think he won like a Bass Pro gift card or something like that. So while he's up there, he's like, and everybody starts hollering.
Yeah.
So proud of him, man. You know, and I at least want them to just do one tournament with me a year. I like what
Right.
you said. Like, let them take their own path.
Sure.
I think the more we drill them with anything, it gets old when they're a
Right.
teenager. So I want
Yeah.
to be like still fresh, you know. But I asked you about the kids because, you know, like maybe Miles one day owns Real Easy Charters, and like we talked about, maybe there's multiple boats, maybe there's one. You know, I
Right.
don't know.
Right. Yep, for sure. No, I mean, they're growing up in this life, my kids. You know what I mean? It's like they're coming with us and setting up for shows, and they're all over. They're always in the studio. And we got a little corner set aside for them, or they know where all the supplies are. They know how to use all of them. Like I got my stuff isn't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I have no problem letting them use it because they know what they're doing. For the most part, they didn't
That's
always.
awesome.
You know what I mean? That all comes with me, just harnessing that. But yeah, no, I think that's one of the best parts about being a parent is just seeing them grow and change, but seeing like the behavior that's consistent, like that one thing that remains with them. You know what I mean? Because they're going to fall in and out of a bunch of different things as they get older, and but if there's like one personality trait that like maintains and like you kind of like adhere to that, and that's how you like really start to know your kid, and the person that they're becoming. It's just that's one of the more special parts about being a parent to me.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I love my kids.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they're
It's our purpose.
yeah, for sure.
John, you got kids, bud?
Not yet. It's coming though.
There you go.
Coming soon.
How soon?
There's
John?
heavy pressure.
Is there?
There's heavy pressure. There's
Really?
been heavy pressure, but
Yeah.
we got married back in April. But
Nice,
all her
congrats.
friends, all my friends, they're all having kids. Her best friend just had a
Oh,
baby,
God.
so she's over there all the
Pressure.
time. Yep,
Yeah, well, you guys have been together for like over a decade,
long
right?
time. Yeah, 10 years we'd been together.
Nice.
So it was time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll happen when it's ready, right?
Yep.
Man? I mean,
I want half Eddie.
I'm done at 3. That's it, man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we're done. We're done at 2. I'm done. No more for me.
Yeah, we'll probably have 2, maybe 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
My buddy
Well,
wanted
you're young
2.
yet.
Huh?
You're still young.
I'm still young, yeah. My buddy wanted 2. He had one, then had twins the second time around. He's like, all right, cutting them. I'm
Yeah.
fucking done.
Yeah.
I know it. Dude, that's like luck of the draw
Yep.
right there, man.
Yeah.
God. Can you imagine that?
Yep.
So one more. How are you? You're not ready for that at
Yeah.
all. It's like
Yeah. You know what?
still a
It's
blessing.
circumstantial, though. I mean, whatever could, like we were saying before, but my son was born 2 months early.
Yeah.
It's premature. You don't plan for that either. So it could go the
Yeah.
other way.
Yep.
But it could,
Yeah.
all you can do
You
is
never
just,
know.
do what you can do. I don't know, man.
You could have 4 at one time.
You could have 4 at one time.
No.
The cereal would.
So you think, how far off from having kids, you think?
Probably within a year,
Ooh, there we go.
or at least starting it within a year.
Have fun practicing.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing you think about is that you don't think about until you have the kid is the longer you wait or it takes, the less time you
Yeah.
get with them here.
Yeah.
I'm going to second that because that was one of my, I'm not going to say regrets because I have no regrets, not even one letter, but there you go. That's one of my things. I almost kind of wish I would have had the kids a little bit younger, for my back, but because they will ruin your back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just wish I was a little younger with the kids and not such. I don't want to call myself an old man, but I'm old enough.
No,
to
we're
be like,
we're only
they're wearing
subtracting,
me out.
right?
Yeah, they're wearing me out, but I don't know.
And then grab your fingers. Oh, Daddy, I'll break your fingers.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
are expensive fingers you're about to break.
Right? Exactly. Take out an insurance policy on them.
Yes.
Well,
Exactly.
Listen, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an
Yeah.
honor to be here. I really
So,
appreciate it.
yeah, no, it's just my honor to have you. Really, I mean, I love I love bringing on guys that have experienced something similar in following your dream, and that's a real hero move. You know what I mean?
Appreciate
'Cause
that.
you've already accomplished more than what 2% of the people in the world have,
Right.
just by quitting your day job and starting your own business.
Exactly.
You know, and it's an
huge.
admirable thing, and
Thank
I
you.
wish you nothing but the best.
Same to you.
And
man.
as your business grows and as your skills grow, you know what I mean? I see nothing but good things coming your way because you're a good dude.
Thank you very
You know,
much. I
sometimes
appreciate it.
that's all you need.
Same for you, and watching you grow as well is awesome.
I appreciate that.
That's why I said from, let alone tournaments or artwork or this 5 or 10 years, what are we gonna have?
Yeah. You never
Be
know.
awesome.
You never know.
Looking forward to the future for sure.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. 2020 is going to be a good one.
Yep.
So cool. Well, we're going to end it like we usually end it, right? Oh, wait. No. So put up your information, or put up his information, right? What you're at. Tell everyone you're at, how they find you if they want to book a charter with Captain Ricky.
You can find me online at www.realeasycharters.com, or you can at Real Easy Charters on Instagram, and Real Easy Charters and Fishing Team on Facebook as well. So
Right on. All right, you guys want that down home experience and fish with a captain who's going to treat you right.
that's right.
Call Ricky. So cool. Right on.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Good seeing you too.
Yeah.
Man.
So we're going to end it. Your ego, it's not your amigo. Right. Just do your best and let God do the rest. And always remember to eat, drink, and be local. Buy all your vehicles at Joey Carty, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Subaru. I said Dodge
The rum,
again. It was the rum. Sometimes I say Dodge instead of Dodge. But it's not always the
tongue
rum.
twister. It's a
not always
little
the
tongue
rum,
twister.
right? And yeah, so all right. And remember that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're always connected by water.
That's right.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.